Welcome to episode 57 of the Becoming MindStrong podcast. So many seasons ago, we did an episode about water weight. And in that episode, I believe I even opened it by saying, I'm a very why person. Don't just tell me to do something or not to do something. Tell me why. And I feel like so many of us struggle to drink water, and just saying you should drink more water isn't always the best motivation to actually follow through. To me, at least, and I'm sure to many others can relate, understanding why water is so important can be that extra push. So in that episode, we talked about it from the standpoint of releasing water weight. Today, I want to dig a little deeper and talk about the benefits of drinking water and the dangers of not drinking enough water. Check it out. So one of the most staggering statistics, and this varies. This is not an exact science, but it said that about 60% of our bodies are made up of water. So just hearing that number can be like, holy crap, water is probably kind of important. If the vast majority of my body is made up of it, I probably need more of it. And the reality is that most of us are not getting enough. So I want to spend some time today and dig into the benefits of increasing your water intake, the dangers of not, and also clarify some myths around water. So one of the biggest questions that I get whenever we chat about water inside Ignite, our 12-week program, is how much should I be drinking? And while yes, there are some blanket statements. Blanket statement would be, they say for men about 15.5 cups a day. For women, it's about 11.5 cups per day. I don't like blanket statements. For me, the answer is probably more than you're drinking right now. So unless you're someone like me who carries around your ridiculously large gallon water bottle every day, unless you're an athlete or someone who's just in the habit of doing that, chances are you're not getting enough water. As you know, if you've hung out here before, we know that our bodies don't like massive jumps. So if you're drinking like 2 cups of water a day and you're like, here we go, day one, I'm going to get my massive gallon, I'm going to start chugging it, you're going to be miserable. You're probably not going to stick with it because you're trying to do a major life overhaul. But if you're drinking 2 glasses of water a day and you say, hey, I bet I could bump that up to 4 this week, that's probably a baby step that's worth doing. And because our bodies are such powerhouses at adaptation, especially when it comes to water, because it's 60% water, it's going to very quickly grow accustomed to that amount of water. And it's going to send you signals that it's ready for more through thirst, right? Water isn't really rocket science when it comes to our body communicating. When it's dehydrated, when it's not getting enough water, we don't need bells and whistles. We just feel thirsty. So right now, you might not feel thirsty a lot because your body's just used to being dehydrated. As you slowly take these baby steps and start increasing, it goes back to the conversations we've had about that bonus paycheck, right? It's going to say, oh, I'm finally getting what I want. Give me more, give me more, give me more. And it's going to give you that signal through thirst. Now, in addition to just common sense, right? If our body's 60% water, obviously we need more of it. Water is key when it comes to our digestive system. We did an episode where we talked all about fiber and how important fiber is to pushing things through our GI tract. Well, if you don't have water in there with it as well, it's not going to be able to push through. So water is super important to our digestive process, to our gastrointestinal health, to preventing us, to put it bluntly, from being constipated. It's also, you can think of it as like a boat, right? The water in your body makes up things like your blood, like your saliva. And it's also the messenger that carries nutrients and oxygen to your cells. So if you picture your blood, your everything floating around in your body, and there's this little boat floating around, that's like your water transporting everything for where it needs to go. It's important for brain health. It's important for your energy. It is, again, we could talk science all day long, but I always come back to the common sense. If your body is made up the vast majority of water, it needs more, right? Not getting enough is going to lead, as we said, to constipation. You're going to feel dizzy. You're going to feel lethargic. You're going to feel your energy drop. Now, a couple of common things that come up when we talk about water. It's one of those topics where people hear little tidbits and grasp to them, at least in my experience. And one of the things I hear a lot is, well, am I going to overhydrate myself, right? We've heard horror stories of people drinking too much water and winding up in the hospital. Unless you are like a I'm going to generalize here, like a fraternity bro doing some kind of challenge to drink like 5 gallons of water a day just to be on YouTube, you are not going to overhydrate. There are bodybuilders who drink as much as 2.5 gallons a day to get show ready. That's not something they would do every day. That's not something I recommend every day. And they can do it and not wind up in the hospital. I say that as a very extreme example. I'm going to say that again. I say that as a very extreme example. I do not suggest you drink 2.5 gallons of water a day. And the vast majority of society does not need to worry about overhydrating. Again, unless you're doing some kind of like crazy YouTube water challenge where you're just being silly about it, you're going to be fine. The other question that comes up a lot is caffeine. Up until not too long ago, I was obsessed with finding the answer to does caffeine dehydrate you? Because I have read study after study, and maybe you have too, or just read contrasting information about if caffeine dehydrates you or not. In fact, I know someone on social media who did an experiment on themselves where they drank nothing but coffee for 24 hours and they tested their hydration level before and after just to show that it doesn't dehydrate you. And I remember seeing that study and feeling confused because I'd read so many things that says it does dehydrate you. So I went out on a mission and did my due diligence so I could finally say with authority, does caffeine dehydrate you? And the answer is it does not. What caffeine does is it limits the absorption of water in your body. So what I mean by that is if you're going to drink a glass of water and you're going to drink a glass of coffee, you are, even though coffee, if you think about it, it's just coffee beans and water, right? It looks like the same amount of water. Your body is not going to absorb the same amount of water between the two. You're going to get a lot more water from that glass of water than you are from that cup of coffee. And it is not because coffee dehydrates you. It's because caffeine blocks the ability of your body to absorb all the water that's in it. The same can be said of alcohol. If you have a glass of wine, we all know that alcohol dehydrates us, right? In that case, it is true. It does dehydrate you. And a glass of wine has a lot of water in it, plus some alcohol. If you look at, we'll take beer as an example, right? Let's say your beer is 6% alcohol. Well, it's also got a bunch of water in there. So is it the best source of hydration? Absolutely not. But is that beer giving you some hydration? Absolutely. Now, please don't go away from this podcast and start chugging beer saying, well, Rachel said this is how I can hydrate myself. Not the best choice. But my point in saying this is, yes, drinking water is the single best way to hydrate yourself. You can't really deny that. It is straight up water. You're going to absorb the vast majority of it. And there's other ways to hydrate, right? When you have that morning cup of coffee, yeah, you're not getting 100% of the water, but there's water in it. If you have a glass of wine at the end of the day, is it the most nutritious source? No, but there's a bit of water in there. When we talk about the foods we eat, right? Vegetables, broccoli has a ton of water in it. We can be getting, even meat has some water in it. We're getting water from the foods we eat, from other things that we drink. And if we want to give it that little extra push, then we can increase our water intake. Okay, so I never like blanket statements like, yeah, the statistics are there. Women drink on it. The goal is 11 and a half cups, guys, 15 and a half cups. I think that's too blanket statement. For me as an athlete, for someone who's as active as I am, I try to drink a minimum of a gallon of water a day. Most people in our Ignite program hear a gallon a day and they're like, that is not even in the same galaxy in which I'm living. And the answer is, cool, you should not be drinking a gallon a day right now. And let's start with where you are, just like we do macros, right? Let's start with where you are and let's work to slowly increase it. Big picture, increasing your water, it's gonna energize you. It's gonna change your health. It's gonna get you to that next level. To me, that's my biggest energy hack. When people ask me like, how is your energy sky high? Nutrition, number one. Workouts, of course, but water, man, you will watch your energy skyrocket. Little bonus side effect. I get asked a lot, what is your skincare routine? And it drives a lot of women nuts because sometimes I splash water on my face. If I remember, like I have never put a product on my skin And I have consecutively drank a gallon of water almost every day for years. So if you're someone who suffers from skin issues, dry skin, acne, whatever it is, simply drinking more water, because it's that boat that's carrying nutrients and carrying oxygen inside our body, it's going to clear up your skin as well. Little, not why I drink it, but a little fun fact. So I encourage you, just start paying attention to how much you do or don't drink. Like everything else in life, it's not about major life overhauls. It's about all of those baby steps along the way. For more on MindStrong Fitness and how to work with us, visit www.mindstrongfitness.com.